Welcome to Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton, where we equip pastors to take their churches from declining to thriving by pointing them to a new future and a new hope. Join us weekly for encouragement and practical advice in your pastoring journey.
We are back, aren't we, Mark?
We're back.
Not that we went anywhere. Well, we did go eat lunch.
We did eat lunch.
We're back. We're doing 37 podcasts in 24 hours nonstop, and so we're like the old Jerry Lewis telethon, and
with no audience,
which that's normal for us. Now we're trying to get all these done, man. We're doing one after the other.
We love it.
Cut us some slack, man.
Listen,
if they're not really good, just say those poor guys are working their heart out for us.
Listen, man, let's just say this. This is a privilege. We love doing this.
We do. We love doing this.
We love you guys. We love you guys.
Here's what we do. We imagine that we get in our mind one or two of you guys that we see around, and you're sitting across the table from us, and we're just talking to you.
That's right. We're just having coffee, man.
We're just having coffee.
Or Diet Coke.
Diet Cokes. We're just listening and talking, and so we're here. Really, we're trying to just creatively produce some of the best podcasts known to man in 24 hours. So we're going to see, because we get together, right?
That's right, man.
We don't do these on the
Zoom.
fancy computer screens.
That's
no,
right.
We don't do that.
It'd be a lot easier, but it would change the whole feel.
We got to be in the same room.
We got to be in the room, man.
We got to be together.
Yep.
So we are here. Dan's not with us. He wasn't able to come to Denver this time because of work, but we are here. We miss him. Hey, we got some really good. Hey, I love this one. Here we go. You ready? How to make a huge impact in your small town. Now, before you turn this off and say, "Oh, I don't live in a small town," 8 out of 10 of these will be good no matter what town you live in.
That's right.
All right?
I mean, I live in a big city.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, every one of these is relevant.
That's right.
Us. Everyone.
So these are going to be really, really good. They come from our brothers over at the Converge Network.
Yep.
And these are some excellent ways you can make an impact in your community. We hear that all the time. How do we reach our community? How do we make an impact on our community? Well, get ready. Hit the record button on that old cassette recorder. You got to hit record and play at the same time. And hit record button on that cassette recorder and be ready to listen to this episode of Revitalize and Replant with Mark Clifton. That's me.
Yep.
And Mark Hallock. Yep. He's sitting right over there.
Glad we're here.
Here we go. 10 ways to reach your community.
Okay, what's number one?
Number one, no second-time guests left behind.
Wow. What does that mean?
Well, that means if somebody visits your church a second time, you're going to go have dinner with them. You're going to go have coffee with them. You're going to meet them someplace as a pastor. You're not going to let that opportunity slip by.
Yeah.
No first-time guest, maybe they want a little bit of space. Maybe they just checking you out. You don't necessarily want to scare them off, I should say, or over pursue them in some ways. But my goodness, if somebody comes a second time, go for it. I mean,
absolutely.
you got to go to dinner with them. You got to meet them at the coffee shop. You got to invite them into your home. No second-time guests.
I love that.
Left behind. Connect with them. A great opportunity to get to know them and find more about them. Number two, this is right down my alley.
Make the news.
Make the news.
Make the news.
Now, we did that at Warnell, and we were in the middle of Kansas City.
Dude, can you share something? Just share that real quick.
I'll tell you what.
This is so cool.
Boy, let me tell you what. We were on the news. You're going to think I'm embellishing this, and I am not. I'm really not. There were 4 television stations in Kansas City, and we were on the news on all 4 of those probably 3 or 4 times a year.
That is wild.
And I got guys that would text me or email me, or no, they didn't do that. Facebook me, because I was on Facebook. I had a guy Facebook me. I hadn't seen him since 4th grade. And he said, "Hey, I saw you on the news. It's pretty good what your church is doing," that kind of thing. How do we get on the news? We involved ourselves in the community, and we tried to make a difference in the community. We did the thing where we had an event every winter on the longest night of the year, December the 20th. We would work with the county prosecutor in Kansas City, invite all the families of murder victims into our church that night, and pray for them and love them and just let them know they're not forgotten. And the community was really concerned about the high murder rate. So when the news media found out we did this, all 4 TV stations showed up. Every year we did it. They showed up when we put out the crosses on our lawn with the names of all the murder victims. And then they showed up the night of the event every year. And they did it this past year. They do it every year. We worked with a couple of football teams in our city that were some of the most poverty-stricken schools with some of the greatest needs, and we raised all kinds of support for them for their athletic departments and things like that, and that got on the news. There was one time, and I'm rambling here, but we'll make this a two-parter. There was not my story, but this podcast. We're going to do 10 ways you can impact your community. So there was one time, Mark, there was an abandoned football field in an abandoned, not abandoned, but no longer used, in a high school that was no longer used near our church. And people were using it as a dog park. And it wasn't a dog park, but they were using it as a dog park. And all of a sudden, we decided we were going to start playing community football games there with some of the kids from the community. And so we were going to organize some flag football games and things like that. Well, because it was being used as a community dog park, let's just say it was full of unclean things, right?
Gotcha. I hear you.
And so I just put it on Facebook, on the Facebook community. I said, hey, we would really like you all to not use the old football field at Southwest for a dog park. We're trying to get young people to play ball there and make it fun for them again. Well, one of the news stations, because they followed me on Facebook because of the other stuff we did, called me. They said, hey, we want to come out and talk to you about that. I said, about what? About your situation. So they met me on the field. And then all the TV stations came, and there I am telling people not to let their dogs do their duty on the playground. And it was crazy how that people, and all of a sudden people were like, oh, you're the church that gets involved with things. And my favorite thing was, they had a terrible stadium that these high schools in Kansas City had to play in, a very unsafe stadium. The lights didn't work. There was no sound system that worked. There was no security screens. And the field had holes in it. It was terrible, and these kids were playing in it. And I was the chaplain for the high school football team, and I was there on the sideline one night, and I saw this terrible field. And when these kids would go to an away game, they played in pristine fields.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd finally had enough, man. So I knew one of the news guys, so I texted him and I said, "Look, I'm out here at this stadium, and it's terrible." And I took pictures of it. He shows up that evening with his camera crew, and he does a story about how bad the stadium is and how the community needs to address it. And that night on the news, it showed me talking, and under my name, instead of saying pastor at Warner Road Baptist Church, it said community activist, Pastor Mark Clifton. I thought, yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
That's what we do. So if you're in a rural community, you can really, the number 2 is get on the news. And look, listen to me, please. I hope you're still listening. It's not about self-promotion. It really isn't about self-promotion. It's about people getting a different view of the church.
Yeah.
These are people who care about somebody besides themselves.
That's right.
These are people who want to be involved in the community. I'll tell you one thing. People who are most antagonistic against the church are that way because they think the church doesn't care about anybody. And so we want to change that narrative. And man, lean into that and let people know that you do love people and you serve people. So especially in a small community, find ways. There's a local radio station. There's probably a weekly paper. Find ways to engage with those people, get to know the reporters, get to know the people at the paper, and when you do something in the community, share it. And you're not trying to brag on yourself, you're bragging on the church, which is bragging on Christ, which is saying we love people.
That's right.
We're trying to change the narrative. So that was number 1.
Dude, that's so good.
Number 1 was no second-time guests left behind. Number 2 is get in the news.
Yep, get in the news.
Number 3, you take this one.
Get schooled.
I've talked too
That's
long.
all right, get schooled.
Go for it.
So anyway, so what's talking about? In a lot of small communities, we know this, life sort of centers around the schools in those communities. And so thinking through how can we engage, here are just some practical ideas. What are some ways you can volunteer with the local schools? How can you and your church get engaged and involved in the local schools?
Well, one of the first things you can do is you can have some of your older ladies or younger ladies or whoever, but a lot of times in our declining churches, we have a lot of older ladies, and they don't know what they can do to help reach the community. Ask them to make some really good homemade pies, homemade cookies, homemade brownies, homemade cinnamon rolls, and you take them over to the school and you say, we would like to put these in the teacher workroom.
I love that.
And you put a little card there and you say, Warner Road Baptist Church loves our teachers, and this is our gift to you. And I said, do it every week. Take food over there every week and just put that. Second thing we did, we eventually asked for the names of all the teachers, and our little church We took offerings for 2 or 3 weeks to raise enough money so we could buy every single teacher a gift card to the local coffee shop for like $10.
That's cool.
And we had every member write a little note on a thank you card and say, look, we are praying for you and we're grateful for the work you do with our students in our city. And we put the gift card in the little gift, in the thank you card, and we took them to the school and they put them in all the teacher and the custodians and the security and the cafeteria workers. Everybody who was in that school got a card and a gift card from our church members.
Dude, that is so awesome.
So just things like that.
I love that.
And then obviously I volunteered to be they called it character coach, but the chaplain of both the basketball and football teams, and got to hang out with them and travel with them and be with them. You can volunteer to read if you're talking elementary schools. You can talk about what does it take to be a reader, to come in. You can volunteer, and you can do this. You can volunteer to be a recess person. They need some adults at recess. They'll have to background check you and that kind of stuff. But some of you, there's just no end. And some of you say, well, I've tried to reach out to my school and it hasn't worked. Look, when I was at Warnell, we tried for 2 solid years, and they basically wouldn't even answer the door when I rang the doorbell. But finally, I went over there. I bought a cake from the big box thing, Costco's. It was a huge. Went in there and there's this huge, big, giant red velvet cake. And I'm with my wife, and I go, babe, we got to have that. She said, honey, the last thing you need is that cake. I said, well, somebody's got to have that. It's just too pretty to sit there all by itself. And I thought, the school. So I bought that thing.
That's cool.
I took it over. It was the first day of school. I rang the bell, and they let me in that time because it was the first day of school. Let a lot of people in. I took it to the counter, and they was so busy. It was such a hectic day in that high school. And the lady said, can I help you, Pastor? And I said, yeah. I said, this cake, yes. I said, this cake is just for you ladies behind the desk, because our church loves you. You're kidding. I said, nope, just for you. From that point on, I could get in the door anytime I wanted.
They were letting you in, hoping for more cake.
You just got to be persistent and loving and caring.
Love, man.
And never give up, and don't get mad about it. They don't let you in this year. Chances are administration is going to change next year, and that administration will let you in.
That's right. Okay, so far we have hit number 1 was no second-time guests left behind. Number 2, make the news. Number 3, get schooled. Here's number 4, and I like the way they word this. Be offensive, but not that kind of offensive.
It means be on offense.
That's right. Be on offense.
And what does that mean to be on offense?
I mean, here's the thing. So people, you hear this saying, and it's true. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So we need to be intentional, I believe, as churches to do events that's goal is not necessarily to preach or teach, but to serve and to go on the offensive. We want to build relationships of love and trust and give ourselves away for the sake of the gospel, that we might ultimately lead them to Christ. But we can't just expect the community in this town to come to us. We've got to go to them with the love of Jesus. And so, again, we've got to constantly, I think we need to regularly ask ourselves in our congregations, what are we doing? How are we pushing ourselves outward in order to serve this community and display the love of Jesus with those who don't know him? And
it kind of goes back to get in the news or be on the news or make some news. As you go out and you serve the community, you want the community to know you're doing that so that the gospel is made much of and the reputation of Jesus and his church is made much of. But the key is to get out. And frankly, sometimes in small towns and rural communities, the church doesn't do that naturally.
Yes.
It's sort of a place we gather. The idea that we go out into the community. Here's the deal. Linwood Baptist Church in Linwood, Kansas, you've heard the story probably, a town of 400 people. The Methodist church closed. The Baptist church was about to close, and they decided that they would be replanted, and so God did a great work there and replanted it. The only other, really, there was a gas station in town, and there was a Taillights Tavern in town, and that's it. And the Taillights Tavern was also a restaurant. It served food and that kind of thing. And so in the previous generations, I understand the First Baptist Church would have nothing to do with the Taillights Tavern. You'd stay as far away from it as you possibly could. And some of you listening to me are saying, that's right. But the reality of it is there were more people in Linwood at the Taillights Tavern than ever came to the church. That's the only place they gathered. The only place there was. So what do? Well, the pastor, the new pastor at Linwood, Howie, and a couple of the young elders at Linwood decided, you know what, we're going to go eat lunch at the Taillights Tavern. And so they walked into the Taillights Tavern to have lunch. And, of course, people knew he was the pastor, and they started talking to people and being friendly to people. And people started being friendly to them. And We have a Christmas deal every year in town, and Santa Claus comes and gets his picture taken with the kids. And now Santa Claus goes over to the Taillights Tavern and walks in, and he says, "Have you all been naughty or nice?" And they all say, "We've been naughty." And then Santa Claus, who's actually a Baptist preacher from Topeka, he says, "Well, let me tell you what Jesus can do for naughty people." And he presents the gospel, and they let him do it.
That's so cool.
And we have reached some folks, seriously, in that environment because we left the building. And you know that's where Jesus would be.
Amen.
Not endorsing,
Sure.
anything, but just loving people where they are.
I agree, bud.
All right?
Well, this goes right into number 5, which we probably don't need to say much because you nailed it. But we've got to bust out of the Sunday morning box.
Exactly.
It's not about just 1 hour on a Sunday in the building with us. We're living on mission, man. We've got to live on mission. We've got to see ourselves.
So if everybody in town is eating lunch at this place, even though they have tavern in the name, you probably need to be at that place eating lunch, right? Secondly, if people like to hunt and like to fish, man, do some fishing tournaments. Have a big game night and invite guys to come over. Have a chili cook-off night and invite guys to do wild game chili. If you got women in your church that like to quilt, have a quilt show. Have a quilting bee. Find ways to do things that engage the community and things they like to do. That's what we mean when we say bust out of the building.
Yeah.
Find things that you can engage them in the activities they enjoy and they like to do.
Dude, I like this next one. Number 6 is be a regular somewhere.
A regular
Be
somewhere.
a regular somewhere. In other words, and we talk about this actually at our church, is we talk about if we're going to live as missionaries, which we believe in Denver, Colorado. If you're a Christian, you're on mission. Instead of seeing whatever, that coffee shop as being something, well, I go there when I want to go to meet my needs of getting coffee. What if you switched it and said, you know what, I'm going to actually go to that coffee shop on a certain day at a certain time. I'm going to start building relationships with the barista there.
So you're talking about intentionality.
Intentionality.
Right.
Being a regular. So, there's something about showing up to the same restaurant
same
in a
barber.
small town or wherever. Yeah, same barber. Go get your gas at the same gas
place
station.
and get to know the barber's name, obviously. Get to know the gas station, the guy that works there, his name. Engage them in conversation. Be intentional every day about being in people's lives, especially in that small town. And listen to me, guys, especially in a small town, especially in a rural town. Always have a smile on your face because they're going to make an assumption about who you are by the way you look and the way you talk and the way you act. Walk into that little gas station and have the biggest smile on your face. Call that guy who works behind, or that lady who works behind the counter. Call her by name. Call him by name. Hope you're having a great day, Candy. How you doing? Hey, man, how's the coffee today? And just be engaging and do that. Go in every day and say something.
Boy, that's
to
a
them.
good one. Just on a side note, learning names.
Learning their names.
And then use those names.
And the post office. You go to the post office, learn
Yes.
who's there, and all those people, and just be in the community. And like I said, you get to know who people are and bust out and again, into their networks. If they enjoy hunting, if they enjoy fishing, if they enjoy, golf or whatever, or if they enjoy quilting, if they enjoy cooking, find ways to lean into that and do some activities, hiking, whatever it might be, boating. Find ways to do some stuff like that the community enjoys and promote those. Yeah. Now, you may say, hey, Clifton, our church doesn't have the money to do that. Well, you know what? If you're part of Southern Baptist, and I hope you are, you can lean into your local association, the churches around you, your state convention. You can talk to your evangelism director in your state convention. They'll help you do these things. They exist to help you be the church.
There.
That's why they're there.
Yeah.
And you come up with the plan, and then they'll help you find the resources for it. Hey, we're going to finish this on the next episode. This is 10 ways you can engage your community, and we just want to go through them real quick one more time, Mark. Give me number one.
Yep. So number 1 is no second-time guest left behind.
That's right. If a person comes to your worship service the second time, you need to have dinner with them or invite them into your home or meet them for coffee that week. Number 2.
Number 2 is make the news.
Make the news. Be in the community. Get to know the people at the newspaper. Also on Facebook, that kind of thing.
Yep.
When your church does something, let people know your church is doing something.
That's right.
Number 3.
Number 3 is get schooled.
Go serve in the schools. Also, we didn't say this, so I'm glad we're
Yes.
revisiting it. Go to the football games. Go to the basketball games. Oh, this is an important one. Go to the 5th grade band concert.
Dude,
and sit through
totally.
the whole thing.
That's right.
I'm telling you what.
Stay away to encourage everybody after.
I don't believe in purgatory, but if there was purgatory, it'd be that 3rd grade. I used to go to the band concerts with our kids, and, after, it'd be like 1st and 2nd grade play, 3rd and 4th grade play. Well, once your kid played, you'd like to sneak out, but you can't. But what if you're the pastor and you have no kids in the band? Yeah. But you go listen to all of them.
Exactly.
And you just, even if they don't go to your church, you affirm them. And they look at, what's the Baptist pastor doing here? He just loves kids. He and his wife just loves
part of this community. I love it.
Man, go to the school. Number
4 is be offensive, but not that kind of offensive.
Yeah.
In other words, go on the offense.
Go on the offense. Be where people are. Create events where people want to come to them, whether it's hunting or fishing or big game nights or quilt nights or whatever
it is.
Be out there.
That's right. Number 5 is bust out of the Sunday morning box.
That's right.
Which we just talked about. Then number 6, the last one for today, is be a regular somewhere.
Get the people to know their names. Talk to them every day. Smile when you see them. Let them know you're in the community, and go to the same store, the same coffee shop, the same barber, and make those relationships. Those are so important.
Hugely practical.
Absolutely. We will be back
great.
next week. Actually, we're going to do this in 2 minutes, but you're not going to be here. But the next episode is part 2 of how to engage your community.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us today on Revitalize and Replant. This podcast is brought to you by the North American Mission Board, where we help dying or struggling churches regain health for the glory of God and the good of their communities. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. To learn more about becoming a replanting pastor or to explore resources about revitalization for your own church, visit churchreplanters.com.